What's happening, everybody? It's Passive Crypto Mining here, and have I got an exciting video for you today. We're going to be showcasing a brand new project by the name of Elumicate. Not only will I be going through the project itself and outlining what it is aiming to do, but I've secured an exclusive interview with the CEO, Jason Bernard, where I'll be asking him deep, in-depth questions about this project to try and demystify exactly what the project is. You are not going to want to miss that, because I get to drill him exactly on the history, the background, the use case, and also what the roadmap is for this. A lot of this information is not available online, and you'll be hearing it directly from the CEO himself, so make sure that you stay tuned for this video. Right, let me get straight into the video. So Elumicate is a new passive crypto mining project, and as the website says, it is looking to mine crypto with Lidar and artificial intelligence. Now, Lidar is a form of sensory imagery. In fact, at the moment, it's similar to what is used in police radar technology, and also some of the self-driving vehicles also use this technology. Artificial intelligence, I'm sure, is something that most people are familiar with. Now, the website talks about this product, which is a LiDAR-based traffic counter, which offers crypto rewards for accumulating indoor and outdoor traffic data. It can track traffic, which includes pedestrian and vehicles, to earn crypto rewards. Now, you're going to want to stay tuned for the interview with the CEO, because this image and this product is not what's on offer at the moment, and the CEO of the project has been very transparent and open about this. This is where they want to be. And at the moment, this is looking later down in the roadmap, which can't give everything away straight away. I'll be outlining later on in the video. But essentially, the format for this project is quite simple. This product is going to capture traffic and pedestrian data, and that data is then going to be sold to different industries. And in return, those industries will have to buy tokens using the cryptocurrency to purchase that data, therefore funding the project. The project is designed to be owned by the people, and so there will be a community, and certain votes will be put to the community about how that data will be collected. You can register to be in the waitlist. I have a link in the description. Once you register, make sure that you share your link around. The more people that use your link to register, the higher up you'll be on the incentivized waitlist. Having a look at the white paper, I'll be putting a link in the description for your convenience. It is, I will say, a simple white paper. It's not very detailed in terms of some of the academic white papers that we have, but it gives us an overall rounding of this project. It starts by talking about what we should know about data that exists at the moment and its the valuability. It goes on to talk about how the evolution of real-world data has been quite slow. A lot of data comes from cell phone triangulation, which we'll be hearing about a little bit more in the interview with the CEO. And then a solution, a decentralized world with a real-time capture network which offers digital rewards. I'll let you guys browse through this in your own time. The token distribution model, which is 65%, which will be distributed to the owners of a product or the ones that will be mining, and 35% which will go to the team, data hosting, investors and founders. And similar to PlanetWatch is the currency for data credits. So when third parties want to buy the data, they'll have to use the token to buy data credits, therefore incentivizing the price of the coin. There is the tokenomics here. We see that there's a halving that takes place every 2 years, which is a 50%. And we can see here that the release schedule is outlined here year on year. The idea is that it will become a self-sustaining model later on down the line. Some of the relevant markets, as we mentioned, and I asked the CEO about these particularly in the interview, include smart cities, retail and advertising. And I asked him about particularly advertising and retail, how he sees the product being used in these areas. And that ends the white paper. It's more of an introduction to the project. I believe that they'll be releasing much more detailed information as time goes on. Hopefully the interview with the CEO will help, but also they'll be releasing so much more as we go on. One last thing I'm going to go through is the roadmap for this project. This is taken directly from an email from the CEO of the project. I've put it together in this easy to understand and use format. You can see here that Q2 of 2022 is when the first phase is expected to happen. This is where you can mine from a public IP camera. So there'll be a software that you can download. You'll have to purchase tokens and be part of a mining pool. You'll have to stake those tokens so that you can mine from public IP cameras. And those IP cameras will be using artificial intelligence to pick up some of the traffic data. And all participants will be rewarded an equal share. The second phase, which is hopefully in Q3 of 2022, is the ability to set up and mine from your own IP camera. You'll be rewarded based on uptime, prime location, and the amount of traffic captured. Now, the last phase, which is expected to be around Q2 or 3 of 2023, is the all-in-one device, as you perhaps saw on the homepage. A compact, sleek, waterproof design that is part of a data ecosystem with third-party integration for data sales. Now, there's a lot more information in the interview that's about to come about these different steps and how it is expected for this to happen. But the main thing to understand here is that it will be a staking model for the first 2 phases, and then towards the last phase, there'll be an all-in-one device that can be set up. Now, I'm going to move on straight into the interview with Jason Bernard. I do have timestamps on this video, so if you want to skip over to a question that was asked, feel free to do so. It was an hour-long interview, and I'm very aware that YouTube videos don't do well over 10 minutes, so I've tried to shorten the video as much as I can. But if there are any specific questions that came up in the interview, comment below and I'll answer them accordingly. First question I asked was for Jason to tell me a little bit about himself and his background in the company.
Yeah, so I mean, for myself, I've got a kind of technical background in IT. Started my first business when I was, I guess, 20 years old, and actually, I was younger than that with my first business with the kind of the pop vending machines and kind of things like that. But my first real business was when I was 20, being an IT consultant. So I got a lot of exposure across a broad range of different companies by being essentially their in-house IT. So we had a big range of companies from kind of the 5-person office to worldwide companies with 60,000 users, offering different levels of support. But it just allowed me to see a lot of companies and how they succeeded and what didn't work. And it really drove my passion into going from kind of the technical support lead to really falling in love with the business, the methodologies of the business, and how to make businesses succeed, and just kind of problem solving behind business issues. So that's really my focus and where I get excited. In the startup space, I love kind of trying to find product market fit, listening to the feedback from the communities, from the clients, from everybody, and kind of putting it all together. That's kind of what drives me, I guess, what excites me.
I then asked about the journey of Elumicate from inception until where it was right before he joined.
Yeah, so Elumicate, the whole purpose of Elumicate was to go to the advertising industry and deliver a product where you can put their product on a billboard and it's pointing to the traffic that's in front of it. And they fully built, and it's a fully functioning product where if there's a BMW that's driving in front of the sign, it'll switch the screen into an Audi or a Mercedes advertising, because that's their crowd they want to advertise to. So with that kind of data, you can actually go, okay, this area has 10,000 Mercedes going through in this given period of time. Therefore, Mercedes should probably advertise their BMW or whoever you want, right? And this was all done in real time. So the product was built over a period of a few years and perfected, and then came time to actually hit the market. And the whole time, these people were saying, yeah, it's something that would be great to have. But when you get into actually paying for it and installing the devices and doing all of this, they're going, yeah, maybe not right now. Now's not the right time. We got COVID or whatever excuses they have, right? Which is not unsimilar to many other industries and startups. So that's kind of when I came into the business late last year to really test product market fit, to see if we had something that we could actually sell. So we actually went to several industries. So the marketing, the billboards, digital out of home, smart cities. And the answer was quite clear in all cases that they do want this data. They do want the capabilities of what it's able to do. However, covering the upfront cost for the hardware, as well as having to deal with the software and then what to do with the data. So if you give them the device and now they have the data, what did they do with the data? So are you actually solving a problem? The answer is no, you're giving them a problem. My whole aim there was, how do we take what we've built today and switch that around to actually solve their problems? Yeah. And how can we do that on a grand scale that applies to many industries? We've actually done the homework. We know that these people want it. Right now, they're getting it from cell phone triangulation towers, where the sample sizes are around 8%. They take that sample size and then extrapolate it and go, based on 8%, this is a number that we have. That's where I think we are different. We actually have.
So I asked him about how he's looking to commercialize the project, how he'll move to proof of concept, and particularly around selling of data credits.
So the plan right now, what we're doing with kind of getting the community built and getting the devices out there to track. So that's our focus right now, is to build that capture network. Alongside with that, while we're doing that, we're going to be working with third parties as much as possible to make sure that we've got other companies coming in, whether we're building an ecosystem to actually fund their development, is that's what we're looking at now. So we're going to be working hand in hand with them to make sure that they're taking that data and delivering it in order to solve problems, so they can actually profit off of it as well. But through our model, when they're accessing the data, they'll be doing so by buying tokens and converting them. Yeah, so with the data credits, how it works is, let's say your city wants to buy the data. They would need to procure tokens, which, to start with, how it's going to look in the future and how it's going to look today is quite different. So at the beginning, we are going to be a trusted intermediary where we're actually going to be needed for that transaction. So they would pay us. We will buy tokens on the open market. We will put those, or burn those tokens, put them into a allocation pool that will then be distributed, small share to Elumicate, small share to the nodes, the server nodes, and then the rest goes straight to the miners that participated in that portion of the data. So it won't be to all miners, it'll just be to the miners that actually participated to the data that was purchased. Going down, 20 years down the road, there will be no, or I guess 25 years or 30, there'll be no more tokens coming from the pool. Yeah, and even at the beginning, our algorithms are going to be rewarding based on traffic. So we don't have the exact split yet, whether we'll actually do a portion for just device uptime. There probably will be a portion that's going to be device uptime, a smaller portion, and then the rest of it is all based on traffic. So the amount of traffic captured. Yeah, I mean, the low-lying fruit would be the advertising market. So digital billboards, pretty well all outdoor marketing media, giving them real numbers, because they are paying right now for the data. They're actually buying that cell phone triangulation data. That's a low-lying fruit. We can go in and say these are real numbers versus extrapolated numbers. So yeah, I mean, Lidar is extremely accurate. And it's a technology that is growing extremely quickly, mostly because of the smart car space, or the self-driving cars, but it's not there yet. There's still, if you go out and buy yourself a Lidar today, you'll be paying around $12,000 for one device.
Wow. So
we were able to bring down the price to about $1,900, including the Lidar, the box, the enclosure, waterproof, with the Ethernet adapter for it, and the edge computer built into it, which in itself was a feat. We had to really, we had meetings with most chief positions within the 28 Lidar manufacturers, and we ended up with the main 6, which are all very interested, actually, even again talking about the value of the data. The world's biggest Lidar manufacturer is very interested in the data, whereas they're actually creating an arm of their organization to try to figure out how to get into this. Yeah, so for advertising, I think it's going to be huge. If we're looking at, let's use McDonald's, for example. You can tell me what this is worth to McDonald's, because I feel like it's astronomical. However, when McDonald's puts on their billboard up front that they have 2-for-1 Big Macs, and they can measure that with exactly the amount of traffic that went in front of their store, with the make and model of the vehicles and the speed they were going, along with pedestrians, give them all of these numbers, and saying, when you change your sign from Big Macs to 2-for-1 nuggets or whatever you want, this is exactly what you got in this location that has this amount of BMWs, Hondas, whatever. And we can extrapolate that across the world and use AI to blend those numbers and go specifically in the areas that have BMWs. You want to advertise this because you will make 1% more in margins. This is an immense number for McDonald's, right? So you start looking at that and go, McDonald's, Burger King, all of the different chains out there, all of the different retailers out there, and you start getting a picture of what the data is actually worth. So the unit is what we had planned. And we had planned it on our test models and everything based on the numbers of what the LiDAR manufacturers were telling us they could do. When we actually came down to it, and the lowest price we can get is at $1,900, and that's delivery at the end of the year. And at the same time, the manufacturer is saying, we also don't have the facilities built yet to create these LiDARs. You start going, how can you guarantee us end of year delivery then? We build a community around this, promise end of year delivery when you haven't even built the factory to build this. And this isn't one LiDAR manufacturer, this is all. And that's where we ended up with something that's not really realistic for what we want to do right now. So I guess to answer, that's a really long answer to your question. The device we're looking at that would be mid 2023 is a nice small kind of sunglass case size LiDAR that has built-in computer. Everything's built into it. It's waterproof. So it's nice and small, it's sleek looking, and it would be sub 500. So it'd be under $500. Doing a few phases. Phase 1 will include the beta phase, which will be a testing phase, which should be relatively short with all the testing we've already done internally. But phase 1 will be people mining off of their computer. So we'll have a package that people download that connects them to a camera. So those cameras are the cameras that are already out there. There's live CCTV cameras throughout the world, and there's thousands of them. So we'll allow people to mine off of those existing cameras, off the existing live feeds, and just to grab the traffic data off of those. So we started with camera, we went to LiDAR, and we're going back to camera because LiDAR is not ready. So yeah, phase 1 would be to mine off existing feeds. Phase 2 would be to mine off of any IP camera. So people can actually just buy any $99, $60 network camera, set it up, and start mining off of it, whether they mine off of it locally on the local network or make that feed available through the internet, through the external feed, and mine from their house and set up the camera at a business site. That can be done as well. So it's not that we're abandoning the all-in-one device. We believe there probably will be a good use case for that, and I think that's what people will be wanting, especially down the road, past early adopters. So early adopters, I think, are going to be more willing to set up an image program to run on their PC and also have a camera set up and things like that. But if we want to go really broad base, an all-in-one device, I think, will be quite attractive for a lot of people. We're actually open. You can use whatever, and then we can get feedback from the community to say, we do want an all-in-one device or not.
Awesome.
So second quarter, we'd like to do phase 1. So that'll include the beta, as well as the just installing the software on a computer and getting off of kind of the CCTV live feeds that are out there, and building a map to show kind of activity in different areas. And then phase 2 would be probably second quarter, which will be mining off of any camera. So with that, we need to integrate things like validation of location, anti-piracy features, things like that we'll be putting in there. And then phase 3 would be kind of the all-in-one device, which could be done with existing cameras that are out there. It's something we can investigate, but that's further down the road. If the community needs it or not, we'll see. But
and that wraps up today's video. I've tried to keep it as short and concise as I can, as I mentioned. Are you excited about this project? I definitely see the use case for it, and I do appreciate that the founder has come online, shown his face, and has put his money where his mouth is with regards to the project. I'm on the wait list. I'll be waiting to see when the beta is released to see if I can be part of it and perhaps start earning from monetizing online IP cameras. Let me know what you think about this project. There is a link to the Discord down below. And let me know which project you think I should interview next. That's it from me in Passive Crypto Mining. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.